One viewer says I accidentally had sex. We're going to talk about it next on Pastor Bob's Coffee Break. Single all the way. My good friend Charlie gave this to me. It's a great mug, isn't it? We're going to talk about sex today and abstinence and what about all of this biblically, and how does God deal with sexuality before marriage, I guess. You know, that's a big subject, and we'll get to it in a minute after we talk about our own HEADBANGERS brew right here in regular bags, K-cups, 5-pound bags. Our mugs, our posters, our t-shirts, everything can be found right here, metalwearfamily.com. Dear Pastor Bob, I had sex with my girlfriend. It definitely wasn't planned, and I feel horrible. We fell a few times, actually. We keep saying that we're not going to do it again, but then we accidentally feel the passion for each other, and we can't stop. Do you think God understands that we don't have the strength for abstinence? We are talking about getting married anyway. And, you know, I get this question often. I really do. People say, you know, we totally planned to stay abstinent until we were married, and then we couldn't. And a whole lot of you that are watching right now would say, yeah, that's my story. That's what happened to me too. And I know people that are pastors that stumble before they get married. Why is this such a big problem? Well, let's take it apart. And let's begin to analyze this question, because it's a very good one. And I thought it was fairly well stated, and it has some buzzwords that I want to talk about. So, I had sex with my girlfriend, and it definitely wasn't planned. You know, I would say everyone who falls sexually as a Christian would say it wasn't planned. So if it wasn't planned, what happened? Well, he says, I feel horrible. And he says, we fell a few times. Actually, we fell a few times. You don't fall. It isn't that somebody's pushing you down. And I hate this term. I fell into sexual sin. You don't fall into it, you walk into it. You walk into it fully aware of what is going on. It's not like just falling and oops, where did that come from? I didn't see it coming, and yeah, that doesn't happen. We keep saying that we're not going to do it again, but then we accidentally feel the passion for each other and we can't stop. Accidentally. That's not an accident. It just means that you've gone too far. Your motor is running and you can't stop. Yeah. That doesn't happen by accident. You turned on the motor. Do you think God understands that we don't have the strength for abstinence? Yes, I think he does. That's why he's given us all the safeguards. That's why he says, don't be stupid. Yeah. And he says, we're talking about getting married anyway. Not that it's planned, not that you're engaged, but kind of talking about it as if that's going to make you feel better about what's happening. Can you see what's going on here? Let's go right to the scripture. 1 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 18. And he says, run away from sexual immorality. Now, that word run away, actually it means run away as fast as you can. In other words, get running and keep running and run as fast as you can. What do you do when sexual immorality rears its ugly head? The first impulse that you have to follow is run. The other impulse is stick around and enjoy it. Yeah. If sex wasn't such a desirable thing, if it wasn't such an intimate thing that you crave actually, because God built that into you, and after you're married, that's a wonderful thing. Until then, something you got to deal with. And if it wasn't this extreme feeling and this extreme pleasure and this feeling of passion and intimacy, nobody would be falling into sexual sin. Yeah. But he says, run away as fast as you can from sexual immorality in any form, whether thought or behavior, even those things in your mind, whether visual or written. In other words, whatever it is, not even if it's, if it's not with the real person, if you think about it, if you visualize it, if you looking through porn, whatever it might be. He says, I want you to run away from all of that. And he says, every other sin that a man commits is outside the body. But the one who is sexually immoral sins against his own body. We always think about the damage that you're doing with someone else when you sin sexually. And that's a big deal too. But it's not the only thing. It says you're actually sinning against your own body when that happens, because this is the way you're designed. It's a big deal. And so what do you do with that? What do you do with that passion? What do you do with that feeling? Well, the first thing you do is you fight the battle before the battle. We've talked about this before. You fight the battle before the battle. You don't wait until you get right on the edge of something happening and then expect that you're going to make the best decisions at that point. You won't. You won't. But you fight the battle before the battle. You say, I have this particular problem, and it is, and I'm going to do something about it when it happens again, because it will. And the next time I feel this urge to merge, I'm going to do something about it. Right when I feel that way, here's what I plan to do. And you rehearse it, and you plan for it, and you do it. If you don't have an exit strategy, if you haven't already decided what you're going to do when it's about to happen, you begin the process of thinking it through and rehearse it and practice it, talk about it together. When we start to feel this way, this is what we're going to automatically do, whether our own passions, sexual passions, follow us or not. Yeah. Fight the battle before the battle, because if you wait too long, the battle's already raging. And then the other one that we've talked about is threshold thinking. Capturing all of those things on the threshold of your mind so that every time they come there, you replace it with something else, and you realize that it isn't welcome there, you're going to go another route. Is this easy? No. That's why you plan for it. That's why you work at it. But you should never say it accidentally happened. It didn't accidentally happen. You can't ever say, I fell into sexual sin. You always walk right into it. And you can't say, well, my passion led me there, because passion will lead you in a lot of different places. I'm going to talk about passion tomorrow. But what do? Does God understand? Well, of course he does. That's why Jesus died on the cross. He understands that you're not capable without him, and you will need his strength and his wisdom to avoid this next time. And folks, those people who wait until marriage, wait until they have the whole package, because sex is only part of it. And for sex to truly be appreciated and enjoyed in a relationship, it has to have the security and the foundation of marriage and all those other things that you're working toward as well. So, unless you are single all the way, like me, unless you're called to be celibate, this is something that every single person needs to work on. Okay. Tomorrow we'll talk more about passion. Don't forget, you are blessed. So go and be a blessing.